Welcome back to Leveraging Leadership, where we unpack the art of business leadership. I'm your host, Emily Sander, Chief of Staff turned Executive Leadership Coach. This show is all about finding your points of greatest influence and leveraging them to better serve those around you. Welcome back to Leveraging Leadership. I have two wonderful guests on today. We are joined by Erika Aquino and Patricia De Leon. And Erika is an experienced angel investor and strategic advisor. She is passionate about supporting startups that balance profit with a purpose. And she specializes in supporting early stage ventures focused on sustainability, wellness, education, and the future of work. And Patricia is her chief of staff. So a warm welcome to you both on the show.
Glad to
Thanks for
be here.
having us. Really.
Looking forward to it. So, Erika, most of our listeners are in the US. And by way of
Mhm.
quick background for you, I know you're kind of a big deal in Asia, but for those of you who might not know who you are, can you give a quick background and information, please?
I'm an okay deal. Let's clarify that. So, yes, I am an angel investor specializing in early ventures in sustainability, wellness, future of work, and education. I have 26 portfolio companies in 5 countries and 3 continents, including the US. Actually, I've done, I have in CPG, I have in tech, I have in platforms, and really I look for founders who are very close to the problem that they're trying to solve, and I look for women or minority owned or underserved founders especially. So yeah, that's essentially who I am. I do love to travel a lot, and it's actually been a passion of mine to kind of learn lessons from travels and see how they can apply in the investment world. And because I'm out a lot, Patricia here is, I would say, my savior. She knows my schedule better than I do. She knows my agenda better than I do, and frankly, I think she complements a lot of my skills as well. So yeah,
All right,
here we
Patricia,
are.
savior. So small shoes to fill. Kind of talk about maybe where you came into this story.
Okay, so I used to be chief of staff since 2021. So it's been pretty new, but not so new as well. So I do have experience back in Asia, but now I'm based here in the United States. So I used to work for innovation tech, always supporting male founders. As you know, it's a male dominated field. But lately, I've been having that change of heart. I've always wanted to support female founders. So I've been going to a lot of like networking events, female owned, like female based. But then again, I didn't know that I was going to make a bigger impact because I was going to meet an angel investor who invests in women founders. So that's when I met Erica. It was a community networking event, and she was one of the speakers. And I just approached it with a lot of
Mhm.
curiosity. It was like, what does an angel investor do? It sounded so great, but I was like, I didn't have any idea as to what
Mhm.
does the day to day look like, and how do you even get into that role, and what do you do, right? So basically, when she was a
Mhm.
speaker, I reached out to her and asked her, right, like all these questions.
Mhm. I really like that Patricia just kind of went for it, and the fact that's really rare, honestly, for someone to offer her skills and know what she literally brings to the table and says, "Hey, I used to be a chief of staff. You might need one. Here I am."
Yeah, and
I'm like, "Okay, do I need a
And there
chief
was
of
a lot
staff?"
of alignment when
Right.
I heard her speak.
Yeah.
One is like supporting female founders,
Mhm.
another one is she has a very global mindset. And I've always considered myself as a global citizen. So I like to move in, different places. I'm really open to it and learning about different markets as well. So as I would say, I guess it was like a match made in heaven for me and Erica.
Match made
Oh,
on
okay.
the internet.
And Erica, how did you go from, "Do I need a chief of staff? What is a chief of staff?" to, "This is a lifesaver, this is a savior?"
No, well, I also realized what my day to day was. I looked at my calendar. I looked at what I needed to do, and with with the amount of travel that I do, I also tend to be things get inefficient when you're in different time zones, right? And I thought I need somebody who can not just help me out, but multiply the workload, and at the same time, learn from me, and I can learn from them as well. And when Patricia and so the event was online, right? And she said, "Hey, what's up?" She sent me a private message after, and of course, it was. I guess you'd say I really admired her guts, her willingness to just put herself out there and approach a speaker, somebody that she didn't know. And she narrated what she used to do. She told me what she could bring, and I said, "Hey, you know what? Let's meet up." I tend to hire based on not just skills but the vibe,
Yeah.
our alignment in morals, in work ethic, etc., and what we believe in terms of mission. So we met up in LA when I was there, and yeah, I think we just got along, and I really like what Patricia was doing. And I guess I was looking for something, I just didn't know how to define it, and Patricia didn't define it for me.
Ah, okay,
Wow.
gotcha. And then how does the chief of staff fit within your your existing team or your larger team?
Right. So, well, this is a very small team, particularly when we analyze deal flow. All right. So it's not necessary. I do a lot of projects, and Patricia pretty much helps out in almost all of them, but she primarily helps out in analyzing deal flow. So I do get a lot of pitches. At one point, I think we were at, oh God, so many at the time, and Patricia is the initial filter.
Ah,
Without her, I was just a little like, okay, things would fall to the wayside, and but with Patricia, she streamlined things. Together with our CFO, my fractional CFO, we they live in the data room, we live in the data room, and we say yes, no, maybe, whether it's a fund, whether it's any type of investment, whether it's a CPG brand or a platform, etc. Patricia really kind of acts as my eyes and ears as well, on things. So yeah, that's how she kind of fits into the team.
and Patricia, how did you go about learning what Erica would be listening for or looking for or being that first filter? How did you go about becoming an effective filter? Because I can imagine while that's a great responsibility with a lot of trust, it's also, I don't wanna not pass through a deal that she would wanna look
Mhm.
at and vice versa. So how did you go about that
So for
process?
me, it was about, I remember shadowing her for a few months. So I would
Mhm,
go with her and calls. First is online, but also in person. And I would take down
mhm,
notes and I
mhm,
kind of put structure and everything. So even with the way that she asks,
mhm,
I remember I would make a guideline for myself and also put a bit of metrics. Then eventually, I would lead the calls and then she would kind of listen as well. And
mhm,
we would always have
mhm,
a debriefing session after each
mhm,
call, just so we know that we're calibrated and we're aligned. So I think it's very important for us to be on the same page, same alignment. So communication is
mhm,
also very important, especially since Erica's in different time zones. I think there was a month where she was in four continents. I think
Oh, wow.
Erica. So
mhm.
it's like I was the one
Yeah.
who was the steady force, making sure that everything goes on smoothly. So I think that's my main value add to her. And at the same time, I know we had this
Mhm,
conversation about usually chiefs of staff will have a lot of staff, of course. So I experienced that before where, I took a company from 0 to 1, 1 to 50, or 1 to 100. But I feel like for this role, specifically with Erica, it's more of a lot of special projects, and I work
mhm,
adjacent to a
mhm,
lot of people, which is very interesting for me. So we do have project later on.
Mm,
Erica will talk about it, but things that I've never worked on, I'm able to
mhm.
learn and also, I guess, share my skill set, and that's what I bring to the table.
Gotcha.
And honestly, if I may add, I want to be that person, that boss that I needed when I was younger and looking for mentorship or looking for things to do. I'm not the person that can sit in an office. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just not me. I can't sit still. And I wanted somebody who can kind of understand that and hone that as well and develop the skills that you know I may not know that I needed. And I think I want to be that person for other people. So this is why Patricia, while it's not, she doesn't have staff, a lot of staff. She does have a lot of things to do. I think on a daily basis, and I think honestly, no
Yeah,
2 days are
never.
alike, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I often say, being chief of staff is many things. Boring is not one of them. So I've yet to come across a chief of staff who says I'm bored at work. But
Mm,
Erica, you mentioned something, mentorship, and it's so funny because a lot of chiefs of staff going into a role are craving mentorship. I want to work for a principal who I'm aligned with on values, but will invest in me and help me grow. I'll be supportive and tee them up for success and work with my principal, but they are looking for that reciprocity in a sense. And principals are
absolutely.
flying all over the place. You are literally flying all over the place, figuratively,
Literally,
literally.
yeah, literally.
How do you balance the I need to get stuff done, I need to be front facing, but also take care of my people and really have that partnership and relationship with them?
Well, it's again, it's taking care of everybody, whether it's a decent salary, whether it's a salary that they need, whether healthcare benefits, those things I really want to take care of. Another thing is making sure that they're okay. I Patricia, I don't know if you noticed this, but I do
Yeah,
ask you,
just like
how are you
yesterday.
doing? Yeah, how are you doing with things? Sorry, I haven't touched base with you. How are you? How are you? I think no, when I was, in my career, deep into my career and getting up, going up there, um, no one really ever asked me that.
Mm.
Um, Other than, let's say it was the quarterly evaluation. That's the only time people would ask me, "Oh, how are you?" Like, you haven't asked me about the other times. It's fine, which is fine. I get it. People are busy, but I think it's also about, and I've been taught this by a lot of by my dad, by my parents. Really, take care of people; they'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Whether it's your friends, your family, your coworkers. Yeah, be nice, be kind to everybody, and they'll be kind to you.
Yes.
So yeah, I believe in that.
Okay, so we've got kind of a deal team or filter on pitches. We have so just for context, how many days out of the year would you say you're traveling? Is this like 250 days out of the year? Is it
I don't know. I don't know. To be honest, I counted my yeah, I've just this year. Okay, just to give you an idea, just this year I've been to, I believe, 12 countries this year.
okay? So you're bouncing
Yeah,
around. So Patricia, you're doing these
I
deals. You're communicating, I'm sure, like via
yes.
email or WhatsApp or whatever on different things that are going on in different time
Mhm.
zones and being flexible. Not that that's not enough, but is there anything else that you cover as chief of staff?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of special projects. So we do have portfolio companies. So whenever they do need help from me in any way, so I do hop
Mm,
on and make sure that everything goes on smoothly. So it's a lot of
Mhm.
it is about relationship building, just like what Erica mentioned,
Mhm.
not only with the founders, but also the people that we already have. on board and we invested in.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, I guess, networking aspect to it as well and relationship building.
Of course, of course. And just for context, I believe you are doing both direct investments and then investing at the LP level. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Patricia, would you be working kind of on both fronts? So it might be a leadership team of a portfolio company directly and or a VC or PE firm. Are those your touch
Yes.
points?
So basically, everyone that Erica knows will at some point know me too. Or yeah. Yeah.
Or they'll know her first
Yeah.
before they get to me.
Very cool. And maybe we can
Yeah.
talk about that. So let's say a pitch passes Patricia's muster. So Patricia goes, "Yep, like Erica, you should look at this one." What happens from there?
We have our weekly standing calls where, okay, take a look at these, and I'll say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no,
Mhm.
and yeah, we'll go
Yeah.
on to the next step.
Mhm.
It's really quite an easy process, and she kind of knows what I want and what, yeah, and it honestly, the way she's extremely observant, particularly during the learning period. She really asked the right questions. She asked a lot of questions, which I truly appreciate. And with that, she kind of honed in on what I was looking for.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was honestly quite easy to train Patricia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the observant description
Mhm.
because we've heard a lot
Mhm.
of proactive go-getter. It sounds like Patricia certainly has done that and is that as well, but the observant
Yeah,
piece is just so critical, I think, where you can even if you're not saying anything, you can be in a room and observe what's going on and pick up what's being said, what's not being said, and all
exactly,
those things.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. I mean, so many people talk nowadays, just and it's very rare that someone can sit still and look and listen and observe really what's going on. And
Yeah.
Patricia
Actually,
is
you know what?
exactly
That
that.
that sounds like me. And at the same time, I do observe, but also I make sure that everything gets done on time within budget
Yeah.
as
Of
well.
course. True chief of
Yeah.
staff. Yes, of course. And Erica, you're flying all around the world. You're evaluating deals, but you're also speaking and keynoting and getting messages out there. Can you say a little bit about what the message you're trying to get out to women, to investors, the world is?
Well, again, it depends on the venue and it depends on what type of event it is. But of course, it's anything from angel investing, how to get into it, why I got into it, how to scale, etc. But also, I've spoken about my own personal story. Yeah, I did go through a few things, a few hardships. In fact, I was diagnosed with bipolar. But I kind of navigate that in the sense that, hey, I may have gone through this, but we are our past or what we're diagnosed with should not define us. And I try to practice and to preach resiliency. And sometimes the bigger the fall, the better the climb.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I try to preach that it's not what you've done, it's what you're going to do about
Yeah.
it.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I actually have family members who have been diagnosed with bipolar. We've had several guests on talk about mental health and things they've struggled with and
Yeah,
overcome. And I always want to just highlight in every episode I can that if you have a diagnosis, that doesn't mean you can't be successful. A lot of people have
exactly,
that label and say,
exactly.
"Oh, then I must not be able to be successful in these areas." And there's top leaders and very high level,
Absolutely.
top performers who are also working to overcome these things. So you can do both.
Right. And also like to point out that an effective leader knows his or her
Mhm.
limitations, and leverages their strengths with the strengths of others. So I think building a critical team that aligns with your mission, just like Patricia, even people who are in my special projects, um, I try to select, and I'm very discerning with regard to who I align with, honestly. It's a skill that you pick up over time. um i I wasn't this way when I was Patricia's age, but through experience, through life, you kind of get that sixth sense of, okay, this person's great. This person will. I see their strengths. I see their weaknesses. Again, it's about being observant as
Mm,
well.
yeah.
So yeah.
And Patricia, given the mentorship aspect and the complementary skill set, what have you learned from Erika in your time working with
You
her?
know what? The investment scene is a very new space for me. So I came in with like, I didn't know anything, or, I didn't have firsthand experience and knowledge. And I think Erica opened a lot of doors for me. So in the investment scene, working with women in business, women investors, other high net worth individuals, and just, having conversations with them. She also brings me to a lot of events, so we went to Create and Cultivate a few weeks ago, and at the same time she also balances me out because I am very type A. I could be, obsessed with execution and my to dos. And I remember a few weeks ago, Erica brought us to Universal Studios just to have fun. So
Oh,
yeah, and it was on an express pass. Let me point that out.
There we go. We're going in style. Very nice.
yeah. No, I'm not. Well, we
Yeah.
got to be efficient, right? So,
No lines. Come on. Yeah, the express pass, of course. That's amazing. Patricia, you've kind of mentioned special projects and working with the other members of the team. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, so basically I work adjacent to a lot of people. So I'm in a lot of Slack channels, and people are sometimes like, who is this girl? Like, so we do have a bit of context that, hey, this Erica's chief of staff. She'll be kind of in the channels with you guys and just checking in just to make sure that everything's going well, or if you need anything, need any help with coordination, then I'll be the eyes and ears of Erica. So every time I do kind of make an intro to who I am, I always tell them I do execute on Erica's behalf, and there's no need to worry because we are aligned in end-to-end process
mm,
of everything on our plate right now. Yeah.
yes. So I do have a marketing agency in the Philippines. We have event. We do a lot of events. We're in fact hosting a luxury retreat from November 3 to 9 in the Philippines, and Patricia's helping out with that. She's sort of acting as the concierge, particularly for our American visitors. And if you're interested, I can tell you more, but that's another thing. Um, we are again, I'm also co-executive producing an upcoming show, a TV show, on female founders. Patricia has been heavily involved with that, with the selection process, with production, etc. And I think this is the project that she's been speaking about, that she has no idea what she's doing, but she's doing it anyway, just like me.
Amazing. And I'm not going to ask you to give too much information away, but is there anything else just about the show format or anything that you can say around that?
Well, yes. So it's essentially centered around female founders. So think of, people will learn everything from funding a business to scaling a business, and maybe pitching their business. Actually, they'll be learning that while interacting with fantastic
Ah,
mentors.
and are
That's
you in this or are you behind the scenes? Ah,
I am
And
in
behind the
and
scenes.
behind the scenes. Yes.
okay. I'm envisioning like Shark Tank for women, or kind of a documentary where you follow 5 people on their path or something like this.
Um, I'll definitely let you in once we're good to say, but
For
it's
sure.
it's not quite
Not
Shark
quite
Tank.
Shark Tank. Okay, okay. Well,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
let it go there. I know things are in the works, and Patricia, did you have any like production or broadcast or coordinating with different streaming services, whoever you're going to, distributors, movie production, anything like that
No,
beforehand,
like
or is
this
this
is
brand new to you as
so new
well?
to me, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of transferable skills I probably had before. It's more of like
Mhm.
that curiosity. I
Mm.
think I'm also very independent, just like what Erica was telling me. I could, learn things on the fly. You don't really have to handhold me. So once I think one strong suit of mine is I just need to understand the vision, and I just need to clarify what are the non-negotiables, and I could definitely map things out from there and make sure that it happens. And at the same time, I met the team, the production team as well, and I think it's important again the relationship building with them. And yeah, I think it's
Mm.
been smooth sailing so far, and a lot of learning curves as well.
Sounds like it. And if you both look into 2026, let's say, so out in the future, end of 2026, I think I've heard some things that you probably want to accomplish, such as the show. But in terms of where you're spending your time and energy, what does that look like
Mhm.
for the both of you? If you're like, okay, in 2026, here's where I really want to focus. Here's the best use of my time, talent, and treasure.
Okay, so I travel a lot, right? I travel a lot, and I see in my travels I see patterns and trends that may not necessarily be obvious to someone who doesn't travel. I see. What I really want to happen is create a an ecosystem of whether it's media companies, etc., of something that balances profit and purpose. If I'm going for the bigger mission, and if obviously there's the show, obviously it's through my investments, obviously it's through speaking, and for me, I just want to keep on doing that, and there is something out there and people do listen. So hopefully I just want to help as much people as I can, with to the best of my ability and to the best of my time. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I think for
You,
me
Patricia.
is about really having that global mindset. So most of our portfolio companies are
Mhm.
based in the US. And I know just like what Erica was mentioning, there's a lot of different things out there. The world is so big. So hopefully we also get exposure to untapped markets that we didn't think, you know,
Mhm.
would be a good fit, but eventually would turn out to be, wow, this is so amazing. Like, learning about different cultures and the drivers and movers of their economies and how it aligns to our investment thesis. I think that would be really great exposure, and at the same time it's a really really great learning experience as well.
Hmm, interesting. And then, f- Erica, for principals listening, and maybe they're considering a chief of staff, maybe they have a chief of staff, but they're trying to optimize that role. What advice would you give them or things to think about?
I think observe your chief of staff and what their strengths and weaknesses are and how they complement yours. It's really about multiplying your productivity, and you can't do that with somebody who doesn't really align with you and what you are about. It won't happen as well if you don't know yourself, and if you don't know your chief of staff. So again, it's about, well, yes, relationship building, but there is an end in mind, which is, let's multiply efficiency, let's keep things going,
Hmm.
and don't, without spreading myself too thin as well.
Yes. All right. And Patricia, similar question for you. For chiefs of staff listening, aspiring chiefs of staff, new chiefs of staff, multi-time chiefs of staff like you are, what advice would you give about the role or working with your principal or anything
So for
else?
me, it's similar to what Erica was saying, but just like what I've mentioned before, the chief of staff is loyal to your principal, whereas let's say a COO is loyal to your company. So your relationship and your alignment with your principal is extremely important. I think that's the cornerstone of this whole thing because sometimes you spend more time with your principal than some of your family members. That happens because you do
Mhm.
shadow his her schedule or his schedule or whatever the goals are. And for me, I think when I first met Erica, I told her I'm here to amplify your role. And I think she
Mhm.
that really resonated with her. And I think that would resonate to a lot of principals as well. And sometimes, it can get
Mhm.
lonely if you're just alone. And I feel like that's something that Erica also felt. And, if you have
Mhm.
someone that's, in the same path, same direction as you,
Mhm.
things will really be easier. And again, things will
Mhm.
be magnified in terms of impact.
Mhm. Mhm.
Beautiful. And Patricia, if someone is listening and is gonna be a future pitcher to you, what what behind the scenes or inside baseball tips and tricks can you give them about what makes an effective pitch here? What maybe what to avoid? I'm sure you've seen good, bad, ugly, and all the rest.
Yeah, sometimes, you know what, I hop into calls and I feel like they're clueless as to who they're talking to. I think
Mm,
that's a red flag, or they didn't do their research about us, even if sometimes
Mhm.
they're the ones who reach out to us, and I'm like, I'm a bit confused.
Mhm.
It's like they have no idea like what this call was about when they were the ones who did the outreach. So do your research, and at the same time, we do have our, you know, um, our sectors that we invest in, and at the same time, it's profit and purpose. So once you get those things down and see that there is a genuine, alignment with those things, then I think it will go well. And at the same time, Erica and I, we do a vibe check. So there's no kind of formula to that, but that's also one factor that we really look into.
all right, so definitely do your research beforehand and know who you're talking to. Seems straightforward, but let's say someone does that and they're like, "Okay, we've done our research. We're making this a custom pitch. Are there anything else? Is there anything else that you look for? You always ask this question at some point in the conversation for that first pitch."
Hmm. Well, it's really knowing their numbers also, just off the bat. What's your unit economics like? How do you arrive at your target market? How just rapid fire the usual. If they know it, that's already a green flag for me.
Mhm.
What else? How close are they to the problem?
Yeah.
It, that's founder profile as well. For me, it's like, okay, again, if you are passionate about, let's say, I invested in this platform that caters to funders and founders, and the founder of this platform is a an angel investor herself and a founder herself. So she really understood the pain points of both sides. So that for me was really such a breath of fresh air, in the sense that okay, there's a problem that she really is trying to solve. Another company I've invested in is an app that caters to nonverbal children with autism as well as their families. It was started by a dad whose son has autism, and he's living with that, and again, it's a problem that he's trying to solve because he's lived it. So it's that closeness to that problem. And again, is it a real problem that they're
Mhm.
trying to solve?
Yeah.
That for me is this, are you just making it up? Are you fitting? That is, those are the initial things that I try to look at.
Yes.
That just,
Yes,
yeah.
that reminds me of a story where there's this woman who was on the board for an insurance company, and people asked her like, "Why are
Mhm.
you like on? Why do you want to be on the board for this insurance company? Insurance is seemingly kind of a boring topic." And she said, "Well, on Tuesday, March, and gave the year, my husband died. I woke up and he didn't wake up, and it was devastating and tragic. But because we had this life insurance policy, it saved our family. So I know firsthand how important this can be, and that's why I wanna do X, Y, and Z with this company." And it was very personal, and you could see the why behind what she was doing, and the motivation was clear. And so I think sometimes it is the closeness to it where I have a lived experience, which makes me passionate about this.
Exactly. Exactly, exactly. And then, the more they live it, the more they want to solve it
Yeah,
usually, right?
yeah. And I know you mentioned this at the beginning, but can you just remind
Mhm.
folks about if someone's listening and is like, "Oh, I should reach out to Erica or reach out to Patricia, or I know someone who should." Can you just remind folks of who you're looking to connect with?
Well, we're looking for founders in the women or minority owned companies in the sustainability, wellness, future of work, and education
Mhm.
spaces. We are country agnostic, but we're really looking at entrepreneurs who are trying to solve real problems, and just with a mission that aligns with ours.
Yes. And if you pass Patricia's round and get to Erika, it sounds like Erika will travel to wherever you are to come and see you potentially. So
Yeah,
Maybe,
potentially.
maybe.
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll
Actually,
see.
it's happened. It's happened. So yeah,
Beautiful.
but again,
Yeah.
yeah, depends on
Yeah.
the country.
Yes. Is there anything else either of you would want to get out there as a final word, or where is the best place to find out more about you and do your research and learn more and connect with you?
Well, I do have a website, erica-aquino.com. That's Erica with a K, and Aquino. So I'm sure it's going to be in your show notes. But that's the easiest way. We have a handle of on the contact form. LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as well. On Instagram.
Beautiful. And Patricia, are
And
those the best places to connect with you as
Yeah,
well?
so basically, once you send an inquiry on the website, it's gonna go to me.
It
Yeah.
should go to you. All right. So you got a little sneak peek, listener, about who you're talking to. But Erika, Patricia, thank you so much for being on. Really enjoyed the conversation. And I know our listeners will learn a lot, and they're very curious about this space, the VC space, and chiefs of staff kind of getting behind the scenes, and then also what you're doing with the investment side. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
no, thank you.
Emily.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for having us. Yeah, this
thank you.
conversation. Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.